Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Gittin. We are up to Perek Aleph, Mishnah Gimel. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'elu Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana, Ranbai, Eliyahu ben Burcha Israelov, Chana ben Miriam, Sason ben Ryan, Yoshua ben Shifra, Menuchatam beGan Eden, Amen. And Le'avdil ben Chaim Lechaim, V'derifua Shenemav, Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, Betoch Shah Cholei Israel. The Mishnah begins, a Mevi get be'Eretz Israel, an agent who brings a get from one place to another within Eretz Israel, and does not have to say this get was written in my presence and signed in my presence. Even if the get was brought from a different province in Eretz Israel, it will be easy to find people to authenticate it if necessary. Although Eretz Israel consists of several provinces, there was enough travel throughout the land that witnesses could easily be found to authenticate a get written in another province. Therefore, the agent may give it to the wife without declaring it authentic. However, if there are challengers against the get, meaning if the husband later claims it is a forgery, it must be authenticated to the people who signed it, meaning those people should testify that they indeed signed it, or two other witnesses may testify that they recognize the signatures to be authentic. Therefore, the fact that such a get does not have to be authenticated by the agent who brings it causes a stringency. If it is later challenged, it will have to be authenticated by two witnesses. However, if it is not challenged, it is valid without authentication. The Mishnah states the law when an agent is required to declare a get authentic but cannot do so. If an agent brings a get from overseas and is not able to say, this get was written in my presence and signed in my presence, now this refers to a case where the agent became deaf and mute immediately after delivering the get before he had a chance to make the declaration. Since a deaf mute is legally considered to be mentally incompetent, he cannot testify to the get's authenticity, as the Rav explains based off the Gemara on page 9a. If, however, the agent was legally incompetent before he delivered the get, he cannot serve as the husband's agent to deliver the get, and the delivery itself is invalid, as the Gemara says on page 9a in Masechet Gittin. Now, the same would apply if the agent had not been present when the get was written and cannot declare that it was written in his presence. So the Mishnah says again, if an agent brings a get from overseas and is not able to say, this get was written in my presence and signed in my presence, if there are witnesses who signed it. Now the Mishnah says, if there are witnesses, implying that a get can be valid even without witnesses, because the Tana of this Mishnah follows the opinion that one does not need witnesses to the writing of the get, as long as there are witnesses to his delivery, what we call edem misira karti. Now again, the Mishnah says, if there are witnesses signed on it, it should be authenticated through those who signed it, and it may then be used. Either the people who signed it should testify that they indeed signed it, or two other witnesses may testify that they recognize the signatures to be authentic. However, the get may not be used until it is authenticated, as we learned in Mishnah 1. Now, a person can free his Canaanite slave, a non-Jewish slave owned by a Jew, by giving the slave a document known as a get shichur, a freedom document. This document shares many laws with a get. A Canaanite slave is more than just his owner's property. He has a bond with his owner that gives him a unique status. For example, a slave is required to keep all the mitzvot that Jewish women are obligated to keep. When he is freed, he becomes a full Jew. The freedom document releases him from the bond with his owner, similar to the way a get releases a wife from the bond with her husband. Mishnah Daled states the law for an agent who brings a freedom document from overseas. Echad Gittin Nashim v'echad shichrui avadim, both Gittin of women and freedom documents of slaves, shavu lamulich v'lamevi, are the same when it comes to taking them overseas and bringing them to Eretz Israel. With both of them, the agent bringing the get or freedom document must say, this document was written in my presence and signed in my presence. Just as with the get, there is a concern that if the master later comes and claims the freedom document is a forgery, it will be difficult to find witnesses to testify to its authenticity. Therefore, the agent must declare it authentic when he delivers it. And this is one of the ways in which Gittin of women are the same as freedom documents of slaves. And that is the Rabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.